I'm curious if how you've seen the tariffs play out with nearshoring generally, and how you're seeing it in generally your portfolio of clients.
Yeah, I mean it's nearshoring also feels risky now, which is a bummer because especially if you look at Mexico, especially over the last decade, we have done a huge amount of infrastructure investment in Mexico, and those facilities are often run by U.S. citizens living in Mexico, and so to
Yeah,
create an adversarial relationship where you're looking at a decade plus of investment and time and strategy and like how do you create an economy? How do you compete in this economy? What is a good choice of investment? And I think you sort of see almost the inverse in Canada. A lot of that infrastructure has been there for decades. That it started off with companies like GE coming in and building infrastructure inside of Canada, and then sort of allowing that to be turned over to Canadian run that process. So you're looking at the sort of generational challenge of, maybe your grandfather worked in Canada and your grandson works in Mexico, and you're like, oh no, this is this beautiful ecosystem of manufacturing that we've built over decades to create a more resilient North American economy. And now those are both risks and those are adversarial relationships potentially. And it's tragic because those decades are decades spent and you can't just shift that. You can't just magically make manufacturing appear. You can't make sourcing appear out of nothing. Those decades of effort are decades that we are now going to have to spend inside of the borders of the United States to even reach parity with what we've historically invested in.